we see that they do not. And because of these verses, from verse 15 to 68, it reiterates in detail what would happen to his people if they disobeyed and broke the covenant. And actually, if you take that and then look at the history of Israel, they suffer in detail every one of those curses, because that's the way it worked. If you were in God's love and you were in relationship with him and you were obedient to him, he would bless you. But if you were disobedient and you broke your promise and you broke the covenant, then curses fell upon you. So their relationship was based upon how they kept their relationship with God. It's interesting how you see in those verses just how bad life would be. It would get so bad when you get to the end of Deuteronomy. This was prophecy, by the way. If they broke their covenant promise, God promised them it would be so bad that they would try to sell themselves into slavery in Egypt, but nobody would buy them. That's how bad life was going to be. That's how broken their lives would be if they disobeyed and broke the covenant and the commandments. See, but this teaches us something. We see that when God makes that promise, he keeps his promise. If we go up to 2 Kings chapter 17, verses 7 through 21, now we get an actual record of Israel. Now, of course, you know this happens after Deuteronomy by probably about 1,000 years, 1,500 years, somewhere's in there. And this is what it says in 2 Kings 17, verses 7 through 21. It says, "And they abandoned all the commandments of the Lord their God, and made for themselves metal images of 2 calves, and they made an Asherah, and they worshipped all the host of heaven, and served Baal. They burned their sons and their daughters as offerings, and used divination and omens, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, and they provoked him to anger. Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, removed them out of his sight. None was left but the tribe of Judah alone." See, as a result of their sin, God ends up here, if you read the chapter, sending the Assyrians to conquer, to enslave them. The people of Israel are taken into captivity and sent off to far off places from their land. When God judged his people, it came as a direct result of him lifting his hand of blessing off them. Get that. When God cursed his people, it was simply him lifting his hand of blessing off them. And when God took his hand of blessing off the people and let Satan and let the cursed world take over in their lives, they faced famine, war, invasion, death, captivity, and enslavement in foreign lands. Now, I'm not here to beat you up about being obedient to the Lord. I hope you kind of get that idea, because that's part of the lesson. But what I really want to talk about here is the other side of this. See, we forget where our blessings come from. We forget who provides blessings. Even worse, we begin to fail to be able to see the blessings in our lives. We become complainers. We become negative on our life and our view. Now, many of you are getting ready to go have Thanksgiving dinners with family, and I don't know how many of y'all have the same tradition they showed up here, where everybody has to post what you're thankful for. Last year on Facebook, there was this whole movement, 30 days of thankfulness. Everybody posts something every day you're thankful for. Well, I don't know about y'all, but there's been several times in life, if you asked me what I was thankful for, I'd struggle. Thankful, got kids, love my kids, right? And you're grasping in your life. Why? Why do we grasp? Why do we fail to understand the things that we should be thankful for? And we always go to like some old adage, well, I'm alive, thank God for that. And don't get me wrong, that's a good one. But today I want to talk to you. I want you to be well prepared for Thanksgiving this year. When somebody comes to you and says, what are you thankful for? I'm going to give you like 15 reasons that you can pull out. You could be the hero of the party this year, okay? You could be the person that says, oh, I got so many things. And you could just lay it out for them, understanding that God has blessed us. Now, don't get me wrong. God blesses everyone. The blessings of God fall upon the just, just alike in some ways. But to those who belong to God, we understand what those blessings are. The world, in a way, is blessed by God, but we are exceedingly blessed. And I want to go through and I want you to understand that. And there's two types of blessings. Two types. There's physical blessings and there's spiritual blessings, and we are recipients of both blessings by God. Because he loves us. And because he has created a world for us and he desires good for us, he blesses us. So let's go through. And I'm going to go from the aspect of this. If you're complaining about it, probably it's a blessing. If you're complaining about it, it's probably a blessing. I'm going to totally flip your way of thinking. Because most of the time you're thinking, well, if you're complaining about it, it's horrible, it's bad, it's negative in my life. But that's actually not true. Let me give you an example. Let me start here. First, if you are complaining about the aches and pains in your body, then you are blessed. Because that means you're alive, right? If you are, when you will stop complaining about aches and pains when you're dead. You know, I've been whining to my kids because they've been working me way too hard the last couple of days, I felt like. Oh, I'm old, I hurt, and most of it's just because I'm too overweight and out of shape, but my fault. And everybody, well, we hurt too, Dad. And I'm sitting here thinking, you 20-nothing-year-old telling me you know what I mean? But the fact is, if I'm complaining, then I'm alive. And that's a blessing of God because none of us deserves it. The wages of sin is death. None of us deserve this life. You woke up this morning and opened your eyes, you are blessed. Because God's grace and mercy have fallen upon you. So the next time you're feeling the aches and pains, say, praise the Lord, I'm alive. Be worried when you stop feeling the aches and pains. Next, if you're complaining about your house bills, I'm starting to feel a little bit like Jeff Foxworthy here, like if you are a redneck, but, right? If you are complaining about your house bills, then you have a home to live in of your own. What do you think about that? There are a lot of places in this world you ain't got a house, and you ain't got bills because you ain't got a place to live. The Israelites, that's one of the things they lost. It's a blessing, wasn't it? If you got bills, be thankful because that means you got a house. You have a home that you're living in. You know how you get rid of the home bills? Don't live in a house. You can go live on the street somewhere and not have a single house bill, but if you got bills, you got a home. Be thankful. Be thankful for that. If you are complaining about gas prices, then you have a car and freedom to travel. You ever think about that? We love to complain about the price of gas. We don't even realize we wouldn't have nothing to complain about if we were walking. You only get that right. You only receive that blessing when you got the car to drive. Gas prices are not a curse, they're a blessing because you got a car to put the gas in. If you're complaining about how loud the kids are, then you should feel blessed because that means you have children. Think about that. How many times raising those young kids are so loud and making a disturbance, can't get nothing done, they're in the way, they're underfoot, they're always asking for something, they're waking you up all night long, and you are so blessed because you got children to do that. Because you've received that blessing from God, you got a reason to be thankful. Thank God they woke me up all those years. Thank God they bothered me all those years because now I got no kids in the house. Now I just bother my kids to have kids, right? Because I miss that. Thank God you got kids under your feet. You are exceedingly blessed. That's one of God's greatest blessings to us. The fact that we can have children. And it's amazing to me because it's not just having children. You have children, and then your children have children, and you get children all over again. You get to love them better than you did the last ones because they're twice as good. You want to know why they're twice as good? Because not only are they your grandchildren, your children who you love, it's their children. That's why grandparents love grandchildren more, by the way. It's not just that we think they're better than our kids were. It's the fact that they are part of our kids. We're blessed. Be thankful. Thankful that you got kids. Thankful there are children. If you're complaining about all the activities that your children are in, keeping you busy with ball games and hunting, right? Keeping you running all the time, then you need to be very thankful. Because if your children are bothering you to go be active, it means you have happy kids. Ever think about that? You do it all for their joy. And that's what you're getting. And all we do is complain about it. I don't have any time for myself. It's always running here and running there and doing this and doing that. And I'm busy all the time. And we complain. And we're complaining about what we should be so thankful for. Because they're keeping us busy. Got some kids here talking to their parents saying, see, Steve, stop complaining, right? Yeah, I'm going to give you all weapons to take home this week. If you're complaining about your kid's school and dropping your kids off of school, then you should be thankful. Because that means your kids are getting an education. You know, that's not something everybody in this world receives. It is not a freedom that everybody enjoys. It is one particular to the society that you live in, and it's one of the greatest blessings we are afforded. Your child gets an education. You don't even got to pay for it. You just got to let them go and facilitate it. That education is what makes society thrive. It is what makes your country better. It's what provides for their future. If you stop complaining about taking your kids to school and parent-teacher conferences and having to send home notes because you're blessed, because they're getting that education. Be thankful. Thankful for that. Here's a good one for y'all. If you are complaining about your in-laws, my wife needs to be in here. All right. If you are complaining about your in-laws, then you should be thankful because you have family around. You ever think about that? You wouldn't have to complain about them in-laws if they weren't around. And the fact that they're around to be complained about means that your family is larger and more blessed because of it. Be thankful for your in-laws. I know some of y'all are like, really? Do I have to be? They're really not a curse. They may bother you. They may drive you crazy sometimes, but you know they wouldn't drive you crazy if they didn't love you. Your kids can tell you that more than anything, right? Don't your kids always feel like they're bothered by you? It's because you love them. You want good for them. Don't take your in-laws as a negative. It's a positive. You have family around. You are blessed, and you should be thankful for that. If you're complaining about your church and going to church, you should be thankful. Because you know what? You have the freedom to go to church. You know, we all take for granted this freedom that you sit here and enjoy today. There's a lot of places in the world where this would get you put in prison. Or worse yet, killed. You are given an opportunity to go and worship the God you love. You are given an opportunity to gather with other like-minded believers and worship and praise Him. You are given an opportunity to delve into His holy word and learn about Him in public, where everybody can see and we complain about it. We are blessed to be able. You know, one of the things we saw, right? What did God say is, the whole world will know of me because of you, He says. Because they were openly worshiping Him and in relationship with Him, the rest of the world will know. Going to churches are important places. They're important for the rest of this world to know who we believe in and what we believe, because it makes a statement, and we have the freedom to gather and to do that, and you should be thankful for it. Stop complaining about it. Be thankful for it. Here's another good one, because we just went through a whole season. If you are complaining about politics, you should be thankful. Why? Because if you're complaining about politics, that means you had a choice. You had an ability to weigh in on the process and have a say in what is happening. We often love to fight and argue and get angry about politics, but the very fact that we can have those arguments is a blessing from God, because you could live in one of those countries. You want to see what a country is that doesn't have politics? Go to North Korea. Let's see how much you like it there. When one person has all the say and you just live under his command and rule. If you're complaining about politics, know that you are blessed and you have a reason to be. Because at least you got to have a say in the process. If you're complaining about what's for dinner, then you should be blessed and thankful. Why? Because if you have the ability to complain about what's for dinner, that means you have an abundance of food. Abundance of food. I love to talk to my friend Giovanni. He's from Guatemala. And he tells me about growing up, and it wasn't him. He talks about the family next door. And he's funny because he says they didn't eat meat. They didn't even have chicken. He thought he was blessed. His house had chicken. Because those people didn't have chicken. You know what they ate every single day? Rice and beans. That was what sustained them. It was their staple food. What you could gather in rice and beans every single day. If you're complaining about where to go eat and what's for dinner, you need to stop complaining and just be thankful that you have a choice about what you eat. You know, Americans have 1,000,001 different diets that we go on, and we don't even realize that every single one of those diets is a blessing, because at least you had a choice. You had the ability to have something else. Be exceedingly thankful during this season. You're going to sit down at a table with more food than you're probably going to be able to even have a little bit of. And you're going to get ready to go out here to fellowship meal. You will not fit a little bit of everything out there on one plate. I tried, trust me. You do what my son does, he takes two, right? You won't eat, you're going to have so many choices that you won't even know what to choose. We are so blessed. We have such great reason to have thanksgiving in what God has given us. You might have problems, but your problems don't outweigh your blessings or reasons to be thankful in this world. If you're complaining about how you slept last night, then you should be thankful. Why? Because you had a place to rest your head at the end of the day. You had a home, you had a bed, you had blankets and pillows, and there wasn't any lice or bugs crawling all over you, I hope. I really hope that for you. If you do, it's probably your choice, right? If you do, I know a good exterminator. Blessed. Yeah, you might have slept bad, but at least you had a place to sleep. At least it wasn't on the ground covered in a dirty pile of hay, like so many in the world. I remember watching a movie, or I was watching one of these documentaries because I'm a huge documentary fan, and they were going into this person's house, and she lived in a low spot, and she had 2 feet of water in her brick house all the time because it was a low spot and there was always water. And she lived in a home with 2 feet of water on the floor. And they just built up on pallets to get out of it at night. And I just think to myself, whew, and I'm complaining about my memory foam. A little too soft on the right side, right? We're so blessed. You have so many reasons. If you got to sleep last night in a warm bed, especially maybe next to one of your loved ones, be thankful. Be thankful that you had that. If you're complaining about how hard you worked, which you just heard me do a little bit ago. You should be thankful. You want to know why? Because that means you still have the physical ability and the vitality to work hard. What an amazing gift. Just to be able to get up and go to work is a blessing of God. Because you could not have the sustenance, the ability, nor the physical capability to do so. And I get as can't do what I used to do. They still want to be out there wrestling wild hogs and cutting down trees with their bare hands like they used to do, right? The very fact that we still have the ability, the vitality, is a blessing of God. They're going to prepare the meal for y'all. I didn't offend them, don't worry. I hope not. Right, Miss Diane, no offense. Said ability and capability, they all ran for the hills. The last one. If you're complaining about what you got at your anniversary party or your birthday party or any little family getting together that your husband may or may not have missed or a family member may have forgot and you didn't get much of anything, you should be thankful. You should be thankful that somebody loved you enough to even think about getting you a gift. You should be thankful that there are people around who love you enough to consider you. See, we are blessed, physically blessed in this world by God. And we have so many reasons to be thankful. I gave you a whole list of, but that's not the end. We also have spiritual blessings. And these things